Boom, baby. It's the last one for the year. It's the last Maté talk for 2025. What a year, goodness me. Like, before I begin, I've got a really super exciting Maté talk to share with everyone today. The fragrances that I've lined up, it took a lot of time, It took me about a week and a half. I had this concept in mind for a little while now. So really excited to bring all this forward to you guys. But before I get started and get into announcements, there's a lot that I want to share. I want to say thank you. The bottom line, so in case you drop off and you don't listen to anymore, I just want you to hear, just thank you. Just thank you for an incredible year. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the the funny thing is, I'm like, Latinos, you just can't, it's like, anyway, I'm like, because as I'm preparing, I genuinely feel a gratitude for everything, and that's it. All right, so just moving forward, I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate the support. Now, I just want to let you know the US, the promo is finished. We had an incredible response, and I'll tell you more about that in the announcements. I want to tell you also, Pelle Viola is temporarily out of stock. Okay, so we're not out of stock. Kevin and I always knew that this was going to be an item that people, really wanted to, or were going to resonate with. But I'll tell you more. The next thing I also want to talk about is, the Pelle Viola and also the Discovery. So I'll tell you more, because also Traveler is out of stock too. But I'll tell you what happened there. We forecasted it. I promised that we did this, but the reception has been exceptional. I'm really excited to let you guys know. I'm going to change my mindset. I've got a box here, which is, I'm going to do an unboxing. This is UNIMATIC. I've spoken about this brand before. It's also tied in with the tour that's going to happen and for Exxon. So I'll tell you more about that. We do have a member spin today, and then I've got a last segment, which I'd love to let me say something. I give it a name. Something to say. Okay, so let me crack. Let me get going. And in preparing for today, I was thinking, it's been a big year. It's been an exciting year. There's been some beautiful releases. There's been some exciting fragrances. I've come across a lot of things. Now, I don't have favorites, and I tried purposely not to have any favorites, and that's purely from and I always say this, so my children, my grandchildren, I love them all. I love them all equally. The thing is, though, that I gravitate to certain things with each of them at different times. So I know that this grandchild loves this kind of activity. This child, my son or daughter, sons or daughter, they love this kind of activity. So I purposely sort of spend time with them in areas that I know is going to resonate with them. So I've done the same thing with the selection that I've done here, and that is, which ones have I constantly reached for, or which ones that I purposely use to go, okay, I'm going to go here, I want to use that. The great news is, in preparing for today, as I said, it took about a week and a half to bring to life. As I've been revisiting, as I've been revisiting the newer, or the fragrances that I had at the start of the year, as I sprayed them, I'm like, oh, you're so beautiful. And so I'm happy that I resonated with them at the start of the year or when I experienced them, but happy to say that I still feel the same level of love or enjoyment when I come to smell them. I'm going to break it up into quarters, meaning that this is when I discovered them, or this is when, and some of them are new releases, and some of them are just ones that I've just come across in that period. Let me start with the first quarter, which is January to March. So January, February, March. In there included Exxons, all right? So before, I've got two that I really discovered whilst I was in Milan, and one that I couldn't wait to get my hands on because I had discovered it the previous year, and that is this glorious fragrance here by Sora Dora. I have recommended this a few times. Let me just say, I don't want this to be a 4-hour-long Maté talk, so I'm gonna quickly punch through some of these fragrances. Primarily, I'll give you some sort of top-line things, so it's like a 10 in 10 scenario. If I have done an episode on it, I'll put a marker here so you can sort of explore it in more detail. But primarily, it's about putting it on your radar. There's been a lot of releases. These are the ones that are absolutely resonating with me, so I want to put them on your radar for you to experience them and see what they work, how they work for you. So as I mentioned, Sora Dora, this is called 7, and it is a bit more of a masculine leaning fragrance. It was designed, Quentin mentioned actually in this episode here, so this is when we were in Cannes last year, and this is when this fragrance was released. He mentioned that he wanted to reimagine, him and Margot from Flair, wanted to reimagine a classic fougère. It is more of a chypre structure, but rather than I guess that classic masculine fragrance, they wanted to relook at it, how they could do it in a different way. This is gorgeous. This is, no matter who I show, mainly men, so I have noticed that women don't necessarily gravitate towards this, like the editors in my office, they don't really gravitate to 7, but the men that I show absolutely love this. One, I told the story in this particular episode, so if you want to know more, have a look at the Sora Dora Discovery series that I did. I did elaborate in more detail. In that episode, I did talk about how I sprayed it on my son, because I said to him, you should try this. He's like, no, he smelled the bottle, and he's like, no, I don't think so, and I just went bop and I sprayed him. For people who are testing fragrance on skin is a high real estate item, and he got really upset with me. He's like, oh, you know, like, how dare you? I said no. Anyway, he's like, oh wow, actually that's really good. I'm like, I told you I wouldn't steal real estate from you, knowing that it wasn't going to be a hit. This is a hit. I've had a few people reach out to me on the channel, ask me about it, you know, what should I do? They give me a list, you know, and 7 is in that, and I'm like, get 7. It's really, really impressive. So I did respray again here, and I have to say, the feelings of love, the feelings of just happiness and joy, good memories all flowing through, are all wrapped up in the profile of this fragrance. I find that it is a fragrance that you could use all year round, but for me, I was primarily, because I got it at the start of the year, I was using it in our summer. Our summers get very hot. They're dry heat, so it's not very humid, and it was radiant. It just creates, and I smell this and I think of summer, all right? So great fragrance, big recommendation. If you want to know more, have a look here. You can use the code NFC10. And if you are interested in following the Discovery series on Sora Dora, you can actually use that 10% discount, plus you can use it for purchases. So if you had a chance to spray it somewhere and experience it, you like it, then use NFC 10 if you want to. And actually you also get free delivery. Boom, they're actually, Quentin's a champion. The other one that I really fell in love with at the start of the year, and I have spoken quite a bit about, is Ruby by Kajal. Just making sure that, yep, everything's rolling. Gorgeous fragrance. Northern Hemisphere, this is a sweetheart for you guys. So it does have a cherry note, but the cherry does not exceed itself. There are more berry tones in there, so there is that cherry note. For me, I can discern it, but it's then surrounded by all these other berries. For me, the signature or the crowning glory of this fragrance is those accords of the lactonic creaminess in the base, or I think it's the Highland base. There is a whipped cream accord, and there's also an ice cream accord. Now, the essence of that is that it's creating this sort of very luxurious, smooth, silky, velvety sort of feel to the fragrance. So there are, I'm sure you've all experienced different berry or cherry-like fragrances. This one here does it just exceptionally well. You know, most people know that I love Maraschino by Sospiro. This one here, I hate to tell you, does peg it. It actually, it's that creamy lactonic sort of silkiness in that fragrance that really just amplifies it. It is a long-lasting fragrance, so you're going to get 24 hours plus without a problem. You'll wake up in the morning, you'll be smelling this. I talked about in one Maté talk how it infiltrated my dreams. I could smell it throughout the night. So it's an awesome fragrance, and one that is high recommendation. I did include it in this 10 and 10. So just so you know, the 10 and 10s, we put a range of fragrances, Kevin and I, and then we start to cull. So whatever makes it in those 10 and 10, know that they've had to compete against other fragrances. So rubies in that. And then I elaborated even deeper in this particular episode here when it comes to fragrances with beautiful fruit notes in it. So I recommend it to you. The next one that I want to move on to in that first quarter is HYPNORANGE. This is Coreterno. Also discovered it whilst I was in Excellence in Milan. This is a new release. It came out at the start of the year. The perfumer is Luca Maffei. I think for you guys who know, I really adore Luca Maffei. I think he's just an exceptional perfumer. Funny that, you know. So yeah, big recommendation. Now, what I love about this particular fragrance is, and I've talked about this before too, I love orange blossom. I really enjoy the scent of orange blossom in a perfume. And here it's done in a very clever, more masculine leaning way. So it does have the, I guess that the classic sort of orange blossom, the white floral, the juiciness of that citrus, but it brings it back with this amberous touch. I do believe that there is some level of incense in there. So you're getting this dusty orange blossom. It's very, I think it is a lot more masculine leaning. So those men who might not be comfortable with that sort of indolic white floral sort of nature to a fragrance, I'd recommend to you HYPNORANGE. Again, if you want to know a lot more, get deeper into the what's this fragrance, how it evolves. The evolution is just phenomenal. Have a look at this particular episode on the fruits, and I do recommend it to you. Let me make sure that, yes. Okay, so the other thing too, this is a big love in our office. So my female editors, and I have mentioned before that Grace is one that really adores this particular fragrance. So those three there for the first quarter are exceptional. If you haven't come across them as yet, I put them on your radar. All right, next ones. Sorry, my brain's thinking, smell HYPNORANGE, smell HYPNORANGE. So I do have it here. And it's moved away from that orange blossom sort of succulent white floral fruit-like element to it's beautiful on the opening, just gorgeous on the opening, but I do love its dry down. It has a cake-like feel to it. I don't know how that is achieved. The succulent white flora has been pulled back. It just becomes a beautiful, just a beautiful amorous fragrance. You know, it's a beautiful ambery on your body and skin. Gorgeous fragrance. All right, so there's those three there. For the second quarter, April to June. This one here was a bit harder because the weather here is a bit funny in Australia. It should be, we're walking into autumn and fall, and so some fragrances are great, some don't. You know, and the weather here in Melbourne goes really hot to really cold, you know, so you sort of bounce it around. These next three, I did four, but two are from the same brand. The first one I want to put forward to you is COSI Blue by Pantheon. This is a hidden gem in my opinion. It is a very incense-forward fragrance. So if you're not super comfortable with incense, it is a little bit church-like, but it does these clever twists in it. The great thing about the fragrance is that when it opens, it has this boozy myrrh-like element to it. Last week I talked about gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and how myrrh has, as an incense note, has the ability to be boozy and plum-like and sort of the resinous, and then it dries down into the more smoky, classical incense notes. When COSI Blue opens, it does have those boozy and sort of rich, deep notes, you know, like dark fruits and stuff like that. But then there's this twist, and it has this green-like effect. It took me a while. I'm like, what is going on? Because is it boozy? Is it, you know, dark fruits, or is it this green element that's in there that kind of a little bit on the herbal-like? It does have Artemisia as an opening note, and I feel like this. So the Artemisia doesn't get too absinthe-like or too herbal-like because of this dark fruit booziness that also is in there. when it dries down, it goes wonderfully incense. And now, if you're not comfortable with incense, I don't recommend this fragrance. But if you are beginning to adopt this or beginning to explore this further, it's a big call, probably one of the best. So COSI Blue, I honestly recommend it. Pantheon Roma, it's a massive recommendation. Again, another one here in the office. It's a big hitter. I was wearing it yesterday. Let me just remember where I put it. I was wearing it yesterday, and so Sandra's not a big incense. She doesn't like, you know, this church-like and all that sort of stuff. Couldn't stop getting complimented. So she's like, I love the fragrance. And a few times, you know, because we're editing, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. And so Sandra was behind me while I was looking at some of the work that she was doing. And she's like, I love that fragrance. And she told me a few times. At one stage, I did say to her, you know it's incense, right? She's like, I can tell it's incense, but I just love that fragrance. So beautiful fragrance, it has great presence. Yesterday was definitely a lot cooler. Again, Melbourne's been weird. A lot cooler than today. And it does radiate really nice in that fall, autumn style of weather sort of atmosphere. Big recommendation. I'm gonna do, just so you know, there is, come the new year, there is a range of new fragrances that I need to talk about. Pantheon is one of them, but I've got a collection that I've been testing and experiencing. So the heavier reviews like I'd like to do will be coming out in the new year. The next is two that I want to put at the same time, and this is LabSolue. I have, for those who've been following the channel, you know that I've been doing quite a bit of work with the LabSolue brand. I do love what they're doing, and I have mentioned this before. I love houses that really celebrate a particular note, and that's purely, I guess, from a selfish reason, because I like understanding what those notes are like. And I find that houses like LabSolue grab that note and don't crowd it with other things. Try to respect what that note is actually like once you extract it from nature. Now, the two that I want to put forward to you, one is Vaniglia. It is one that I was ODing on over that period, and I resprayed it again, and it reminded me of that time, of that sort of fall kind of weather. What I like about the vanilla, so the great thing about for me with vanilla is I like all its aspects. I love the confectionery, sweet, pastry, sort of dessert-like, but I also like the more pared back and the more leathery element of it. There is, so this vanilla here is very leathery-like. So it is a touch, not necessarily animalic, but it has this leathery effect. You are getting the pulpiness of the vanilla, but with this leather touch to it. Let me just give you a heads up. The LabSolues are not massive projectors like COSI Blue. You know, you can really have presence, like Ruby by Kajal has great presence. The LabSolues are designed to be a lot more personal when it comes to the way that they perform. These fragrances are technically more for you than they are for everyone around you. Vanilla is gorgeous as a personal fragrance. It's great as a, you know, as an office scent, things like that, or a fragrance profile that you want for a more quieter day. So I'd recommend to you vanilla, and it's not over the top with that vanilla accord, or vanilla scent, not an accord, vanilla scent. And the next one, I talked about this last week also, and this is MIRRA. I keep banging on about this one. I love it, and I think that's probably more the point, that this is a fragrance that, one, I enjoy wearing, and two, every time I revisit it, I'm like, that's right, I do love you a lot. I love it because the incense note, so I mentioned before, but COSI Blue, you gotta love incense to be here. Whereas with MIRRA, this is something that you can graduate into when it comes to appreciating incense. It does have that boozy effect and that fruit-like, plum-like quality on the opening, and then it dries down to that smoky incense that I love. Well, that, you know, if you like incense, then this is fantastic. Boom. The last one in that quarter, the second quarter, is this fragrance here, which is Ghost in the Shell. I discovered this alongside Liam. For those who may have missed some of those episodes, here's Liam, awesome man. And this was my first deep dive. Actually, Liam helped navigate me through all things Etat, Libre, Orange. And this one here, it was an instant love as soon as I sprayed it. And the only reason I gravitated to it was because I loved the anime Ghost in the Shell. And when I sprayed it, even the bottle is tactile, you know, sort of like a rubbery skin. As soon as I sprayed it, I'm like, this is me. I love fragrances, musky fragrances that amplify me, essentially. And this one here, I can see what they've aimed to achieve, and that is, you know, what would an android, this is how I'm picturing it, what would an android smell like? And it would smell like Ghost in the Shell. Currently, the reason why I can't show it to you, because my son has it on rotation, so he's got it in the library. Massive recommendation. So this is a really beautiful, musky, but not your classic white musk style of notes. There is this kind of like tonic, slightly milky. Think of like that fresh skin, almost like baby skin. You know, it's just pinky and it's fresh and it's soft, and that's what this scent profile. It's such a beautiful, it's a beautiful fragrance. I don't know, it's a comforting fragrance. I think that's what it is. It's such a, it's not overtly fragrant musk. It's more about what would a human smell like. I think that's the best way to do it. So big recommendation. That's for the second quarter. Timing was still good. Yes, still good. I'm going to keep moving. Again, these are all recommendations. If you haven't tested them yet, I would, you know, go out and check them out. Third quarter was tough because there were a lot of fragrances. This took quite a bit of effort on my behalf to limit things, and again, I put things forward and pulled things and took things out, and so what I've put down, I debated with myself to do it because they're both from the same company, but in the end, I have, thinking of that period, these are the two that really resonated. Long story to say. During this period, I had an opportunity to be in the Libertine boutique, which meant that for 5 days, I had full access to every fragrance you can think about. I tested so many fragrances. I mean, I was covered in perfume close to every day, stuff that I not necessarily had access to constantly. I had an ability to really open up my my experience with a lot of fragrances. Now, one that I've got a few in the collection, but I now have doubled down. I have fallen in love with all things Room 1015. I've already shared a little bit more about this. And the next two that I want to put forward to you from the same company. One is the LOVE-O-MATIC. I have spoken about this, and the other one is Jasmine Freak, and I want to tell you more about this one here. For those who were following me during that period, you can see I was actually posting fairly regularly different fragrances that I was testing, and, you know, just showing people that, you know, which one did I choose in the end. In most cases, if I showed the photos, I actually had all of them on. LOVE-O-MATIC, I talked about this. Now, this was actually recommended to me by Alexandre. So the house actually, because I said to her, out of all the, you know, what's something that's really pinged for you? And she navigated me to this brand. The LOVE-O-MATIC is very similar to that very clean, fresh linen style of scent. There are a few fragrances out there that do that. The problem that I have with those, mind you, I have them because Sandra really loves that style of scent, and so we've got a few in the collection, but I don't wear them regularly, unlike LOVE-O-MATIC, and that's because I don't know if you noticed, I don't have a Maté today because I'm like, I just gotta get this thing moving. The LOVE-O-MATIC, it grabs that clean, fresh linen scent, which, you know, is super enticing and sort of gives you good, happy feelings, but now has blended it with some fruit notes. And it's the fruit notes, that twist, that actually I'm drawn to it. This strawberry sweetness, but it's not over the top. So it's not a fruit fragrance. I wouldn't, if anything, I would put it as a clean musk fragrance. So you get that clean linen, clean skin, fresh out of the shower scent profile to it, But now, as I mentioned, with that beautiful fruit twist that's in there. I was wearing this the other day as my fragrance of the day. It was a miserable day and it felt beautiful. It actually was a fragrance profile that you just feel happy. You feel content. You feel at peace with the world. A big recommendation. This was, so going back to Alexandra, this was her favorite fragrance. She was saying also that within Libertine, it's actually one of their best sellers. So I would recommend it to you as something that you should check out. And the other one is, I'm sorry, I'm making sure that I'm covering up. Oh yeah, All Season. So LOVE-O-MATIC, I was wearing it in the more cooler, wintry sort of style of location of season. It's been quite weird but summery. But today's is a great day, and actually on a day like today, which is probably about 20-something degrees, it's working perfectly. Jasmine Freak, I adore. So lately, I have fallen in love with the more white florals. Up until now, I think white florals is something that I had surrendered over to Sandra. I always called her the white floral queen. I think I even did a video, sort of denouncing that very point. And so anything white floral-esque, I just found it, well, just remind me of her, or just remind me of, I felt that it was a very feminine leaning fragrance. Okay, so Jasmine Freak, if you're that kind of guy, this is a great place to begin that white floral indole, slightly indole place. Women, it's super easy fragrance to wear. For a guy, it's fantastic because it has again, the orange blossom. So it's this beautiful orange blossom blended in with a little bit of jasmine. But now it has something on that opening. Let me just remember. Ooh, I'm so tired, everybody. My whole body is just like, I'll tell you about it later, but oh my gosh. Fruit notes. So it has this very fun, succulent mango blended in with like a black currant, but it doesn't linger. So it comes in at that opening, blended in with this white floral happiness, sunshine, and then it pulls itself backwards. Again, I was wearing this whilst in Sydney. It was raining miserably. Look at this video. This is so you can see the type of torrential rain weather that we were experiencing at that time. And Jasmine Freak was perfect. So it does, if you're having miserable weather, it brings a level of sunshine. If you're having gorgeous weather like we are today, it brings in that sunshine or accentuates that sunshine too. It's a gorgeous fragrance. So where it starts, that orange blossom really sort of bright and jasmine and white floral and the fruits, it does pull itself backwards. It does have more of a, did I write down notes? No, but it does come back a little bit more animalic. So I think like ambergris and musk and things of that nature are definitely in the fragrance. Great presence and projection. A little while back I was wearing it, and again another one where Sandra's like, well, I like this fragrance, what you're wearing. We were out walking and it was definitely present and wonderful. I will be doing more on all things Room 1015. It's a brand that I've double down on. I recently caught up, so here's a photo. When I was in Cannes, I did meet with Michael and just want to explore this further. I do want to do some discovery series with them. I think that the fragrances that they have are pretty exceptional, so that'll be more in 2026. Boom. The last one, I don't have a bottle. That also tested it whilst I was in Libertine, and this one, I debated whether to put it in or not into this lineup, but the interesting thing was I couldn't get enough of Lost in Paris. Whilst I was there, I was on my own for, as I said, 5 days. And the last fragrance I would wear, so I was covered in perfume, but then I would wear something. So I hadn't put anything on my chest. And just before I finished the shoot and go out for the evening, I one last spray of something. And like 4 days running, I was wearing Lost in Paris. And I was even to like 2 days or 3 days in, I'm like, okay, can we choose something else? I'm sort of talking to myself, but my brain's like, but I want Lost in Paris again. This is an incredible vanilla, amber, animalic, pastry-like fragrance. it actually complemented the evenings that I was having in Sydney. They were miserable, they were cold, and this Lost in Paris a scent profile on me was divine. I don't own it because it's $2,500 or Aussie dollars. I actually said to like, what, you know, why so expensive? So I don't have the answer. I don't know why it's so expensive, other than it's a beautiful, gorgeous fragrance. And the funny thing is, even I am rationalizing it in my brain going, surely you can, you know, I even went to the Clive Christians. I'm like, enough with Lost in Paris, try to find something else. And as I'm spraying different cards, my brain's just going, just put on Lost in Paris. You're not gonna get another chance. Just do Lost. And so finally, just, yeah, Lost in Paris. So a shout, bop, and back. Lost in Paris. I don't have it. If you got thousands to spare, then I'd recommend it. If you somehow get a chance to test it, I'm 100% recommend that to you too. Okay, last one, fourth quarter. The last three, two of these are Sandra's, and actually, as I was thinking, you know, what should they be? Two of these, Sandra has been just non-stop spraying. So before I get to that, let me show you one that I have also non-stop spraying, and that is the glorious Topaz. And again, this was another one where I'm like, are you gonna put two from the same house? And my answer is yes. So there is a review on the way when it comes to Topaz. That's something that I want to do at the start of next year. This is an awesome fragrance. And again, maybe it's just me because of that orange blossom scent note, or maybe this fragrance is just, has not been getting enough airplay. From what I've seen, I don't think I've seen enough on Topaz. I know that Kajal, maybe I'm a sucker for them. I mean, their scent profile is something that I really enjoy. I love that they blend a mixture of, and they've really found their niche in that they're doing these wonderful fruit notes, but they've got this Arabic sort of temperament that they're wrapped around. So there are these more sort of dusty notes, a little bit more sort of grown up scent profiles, more amberous in the way that they hold. And I really like what they're doing. I take my hat off to them. I was wearing this again. I actually have been wearing it for quite some time now, so over and over. So again, this is the reach and use. And the way it makes me feel as I get that scent profile is fantastic. And also, I do get a lot of compliments from Sandra. Now I realize I always feel nervous saying you get compliments. Some people, you know, that's not something that they register. Truthfully, I wear fragrance for me and not necessarily so that I can, you know, trying to harvest compliments from people. However, if a fragrance is resonating and someone says something, I personally think, I like it, to be honest. And mind you, that goes across everything. Tell me when you wear something good that looks good on you, you don't like it when someone says, whoa, I like that shirt, or I like the scarf, or I like the hat, or whatever it may be. I love the dress. I don't wear dresses, but, you know, for a woman. So you sure you're not doing it to solicit compliments, but when someone says something nice about something you've chosen, I don't know, for me at least, I like it. Orange blossom with lemon zest. It does have this, so the story is wrapped around this unique lemon, or a black lemon that is very Arabic or has some sort of heritage there. I don't know the full story other than I love the scent profile of it. It does have, when it dries down, it does go a touch dirty. So I do believe there might be some ambergris also and some musk and things of that nature in the fragrance. As a statement maker, as a long-lasting, as a presence fragrance, gorgeous. And as a companion to Ruby, so this one here is definitely, I feel like it's a little bit more for warmer weather, although you could use it in cooler in Northern Hemisphere. But these two as a companion, so Ruby and Topaz, I'd recommend them. The last two is Sandra. I'm gonna go for the big hitter. And this is IMPADIA by BDK. Now, one thing that I love about Sandra, can you see the level on that? Is that when she falls in love with a fragrance, she is all in. I am smelling this. I mean, she slowed down, but there was one stage where I actually thought my house smelled of IMPADIA. That was its own, you know, scent profile. No matter what time of day, Sandra might not even have been there, but I could smell IMPADIA everywhere. So the classic, I guess the structure of the fragrance is that it's this pear note, which is not succulent, but the pear fruit is definitely present. This very distinct rose, and then a sandalwood. Now, for me, I get all three of those at any stage. So it's not like I do find that it's not very evolutionary, you know, so it doesn't start here, go there, and blah, blah. I find that those three notes, whenever I smell it, I didn't spray it because on me, I get that, but I do get happiness. Just then my brain went, oh, I love you. It's a beautiful fragrance. If you haven't experienced IMPADIA, I did notice that it got a little bit of heat. Sure, you know, people are comparing it. Probably, yes. I'm not seeing it. I'm not gonna say, if you haven't heard, that's cool. But as a recommendation, as a female-leaning fragrance, I think it's just immaculate. It's incredible. However, boys, don't be afraid of this. I can't wear it now. I mean, I did wear it at the start, but now I smell this and I think of my wife, Sandra. My son, Nelson, loves this fragrance whenever he comes over. He's spraying this, and yeah, I'm getting IMPADIA on stereo between my wife and him. The last one, and I have spoken about this quite a bit, this is Penhaligons, and this is Daphne's Bouquet. Big recommendation. I do love the scent profile of this. It's not one that I've worn, but I would wear this. It's green. It has this wonderful balance between being a floral note, so it's celebrating Daphne. I don't know what Daphne's like in nature, but it does have a floral bouquet element to it, and then this green mossiness. This is a great confidence maker. This is a boss fragrance for a man or a woman. What I also love is that it's equal part sort of assertive with that green floral nature, and it's not a feminine floral, so again, a man can wear this. But then there's this softer edge coming through when it comes to this black currant note. Honestly, the craft, the fragrance, the way it's been created, spectacular. Big recommendation. This is one that Sandra has really also adopted for herself. It doesn't have the same like monstrous push as this thing here. I mean, as I'm driving up to the house, I can smell this, whereas this one here is a beautiful, like I said, it would be great as an office fragrance. It'd be great as a going out fragrance. If you're going to a large party, then this is the one you want. Tired. And done. So there are 12 fragrances that I would recommend to you guys. These are my standout hits for 2025. So there's been a lot of fragrances. There were some, I'm looking at them now, they're looking at me like, why did you not choose me? That are gorgeous, that are just really stunning. But I wanted to, one, find a balance here, so between different things, and two, things that I genuinely constantly reached for. There are fragrances that I won't say names, but that actually just saw one that I absolutely adore, but I didn't include it because I didn't reach for it that often. I won't tell you what it is. Whereas all of these I've been constantly reaching for, and the last two, Sandra has just been really like going all in. Boom. Thank you so much. If you've experienced those, I'd love to hear your comments on this. I will move across to now all things announcements, all the things that I shared. If you're planning to leave me, thank you for your company. Thank you again for your support. Let me kick into all things US promo, OT, etc. But before I do that, let me just do a quick stop. I'll be back. I'm back. I wanted to regroup, and this next part here, I want to sort of slow down my dialogue so it doesn't become like a race. US, the promo has ended. The response that we had was exceptional. We budgeted, so some great things that happened. One, those who put the reservation, that was fantastic because we were able to put that stock aside. What's been happening is that the product has been going out into the world, and so orders were still coming in, and then US amped up their sales, and as a result, we have temporarily run out of Pelle Viola, and we have also temporarily run out of the OT Traveler. And I say temporarily because, actually before I explain the because, have a look at this meme. So I came across this a little while back, and I love So it starts off very functional. You know, what is capitalism? Well, it's two cows and you do this and that. What is socialism? Or actually this one is fascism. And I think it's funny because, you know, the state sells you back your own cow's milk. And then it started to get into different economies around the world and redefining them. This is the Italian economy. And I love that you have two cows, you've lost them, you go out for lunch. So we had a situation as we were moving into all things OT, we had a launch date and we were working with not AFM. So AFM Luca Maffei has been phenomenal, but as you know, all these different pieces, the bottles, the caps, all that sort of stuff. And in the end, we were getting so close to our go date that we had to air freight these components. Unfortunately, what it meant is that we had to forecast, and we sort of, Kevin and I, we sat down and we looked at what do you think we're going to need when it comes to the three variants and then the Traveler. And we had a feeling that Bella Viola was going to be the one that was going to resonate, the big hit. So we put a number against that. We thought, here it is. And then we gave it a little bit more. We outsold. So Bella Viola, as a result, that's the reception on that has been phenomenal. But we're not out of stock. What we had, because air freighting, have you guys felt the weight of our bottles? I'm trying to find a bottle. I don't even have one in front of me. So these are there's heft to them, the lid, the bottle itself. So to air freight that cost us a pretty penny. But we knew that we needed to be ready for launch. We kept promoting 10-10, blah, blah, blah. So we knew that this had to all go out. The remaining stock is actually coming to us. So it's on a boat, it's making its way to us. It will most likely arrive probably about, I don't want to start giving dates because then we start getting, so by end of Jan, early Feb, all that stock is now back back with us or here. So we will resume that sales back on. So Bella Viola, if you were one of the lucky people who managed to get one, congratulations. I'd love you to post, tell people how awesome this fragrance is, because it is getting a lot of love, which is really exciting. So that will become available end of January into February. Now, something that we are going to be working on, and Kevin and I have been talking about this, is to create like a pre-order scenario. So if you do want to lock down your Bella Viola once that arrives, we will have something in place there. What worked really well for the US promo is the wish list reservation. It got a little bit messy, I have to be honest with you, only because some emails didn't make it through. Some people were getting very nervous. I'm happy that we satisfied all those orders. So everybody that ordered during that promo, your stock has been put aside, or it's been packed and getting ready to go. So there were no issues there. So but moving forward, we're trying to find a system that's going to be a little bit more easier to adopt for everybody who would like access to that fragrance. The other one that, as I said, is the Traveler, but that too will become available at the end of January, sorry. As a result, the Discovery series that was planning to launch on the 28th of this month, I'm going to postpone because there is a promo, and actually I'll reveal it now with what we're planning to do. The intention is that as part of the Discovery series that I'm going to do on this is that everybody who purchased purchased anything, whether you full bottle or even a Traveler, previously or even moving forward from that promo period onwards, will get a 10% on a full bottle. So if there's something else that you thought, wow, I really like this, I had a lot of people who have started with Bella Viola, for instance, and then they've gone, well, Roma 271, I can't believe how incredible that fragrance is. So if you would like to take effect and buy yourself another bottle, then that 10% will be applied, but will only be for a 4-week period, okay? Everybody who's ordered will get a special code and we'll go from there, okay? BUP. So the Discovery series will actually happen now, probably end of Jan into February, so that we have stock it's pointless to promote or to share, you know, what the fragrances are about, and you guys have no access to that, not even access to the traveler itself. Yes, that's that. Again, thank you to everyone who participated. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the thank you part and some of the sort of, I've got something to say as my final farewell for 2025. But before I do that, and one thing that I've been busting to do, and that is to talk about UNIMATIC. I have shared that we're going to do some more work with all things UNIMATIC in Milan for 2026. I mentioned that last tour we did, I managed to connect with Giovanni, who is the owner of the business. He's a friend of Luca Maffei. The storyline is that Luca saw my watch and he goes, I can't believe you've got a UNIMATIC on. And that's my best friend. And I said, well, can he become my best friend? So I managed to see him during the tour. We invited some of the people who were, this is the Italy tour, to come and join us. And the whole experience was amazing. To be in his, if you're into watches, to be in the HQ and see the collection and everything else was really impressive. They've just celebrated 10 years. And I bought myself something. So let me just open up and I'm going to do a live unboxing for you guys. So there is a new watch that's just been released. It is to celebrate their 10-year anniversary. It's not available as yet. I spoke to Giovanni and I said, what are the chances of you sending it to me early? And he said, sure. I said, I'll unbox it in on Maté Talk, and he's like, 100%. So let me show you what a UNIMATIC is like. Ooh, there's something in there. So what I love is that they come in these hard case boxes. They've got this really sort of, so they're a robust tool watch, and this is what I love about them. So I do love, so for those who've seen it, I have my Panerai and things of that nature. Those ones there, they're more of a dress watch, so as in a dress-up watch. I like having, and I don't have, well I didn't have, a watch that I could just use to go somewhere and do things, and if it gets a little bit bumped, it's not going to get a scratch. I find that the UNIMATICs are amazing. Just as a point of interest, there is a seal on this, so I love the way that this has been sealed and made protected. This is the 10-year anniversary one, so they've got this in partnership with a clothing brand called The Armory. They're celebrating 15 years. UNIMATIC is celebrating 10. It's gorgeous. And that's the watch. Ba-ba-da-boom. So they're doing this very unique design. One thing that I also love is that the watches are, hang on. I'm a bit of a nerd. So number 11 is my lucky number. And I did say to Giovanni, if it's possible, I know this is hard, but you reckon you could send me number 11? Bada bing. So there's 120 of these around the world. And number 11, oh, actually I'm gonna take the plastic off. Let me just take that off. I'll put it back. But this is the new watch. I'll put images here because you can't see it too well on the, so I'm wearing one of the UNIMATICs, which is this one here. This is a limited edition also. And this baby here. C'est très bon. Oof, that's a good watch. So that's the watch there. I do love that it's coming with extra straps, which is these two here. So if you want something a bit more, I think the red might be a bit too bright. I think this blue color here might be nice. It's a suede thing. So there you have it. So next year the plan is to, as part of the Excellence Tour, this will be an added extra. So I'll work out exactly when it will occur. The intention is that it will be, for those who love watches and things of that nature, if you really want to go behind the scenes and explore more when it comes to all things UNIMATIC, that will become part of the tour. I will be sharing more on all things UNIMATIC, what what's the watches are about, how do they operate. This one here, and what I also like is that they are automatics. So I'm a big fan of sort of that in-house sort of movement. They do have quartz, and I am looking at a quartz one, but I do love the manual wind and all the actual movement itself. They're a cool watch. Yeah, anyway, boom. This is the 10-year anniversary, and yes, very nice. Grazie. All right, so the last thing I wanted to do, actually the second last thing I want to do is this. And back. All right, so spin the wheel, last one for the year. I thought let's make it something special. The 2 spins that will happen, first person to land, you have the option of either having the Zaharoff passport, beautiful design from Zaharoff. It's a partnership between myself and Mr. George Zaharoff. They're actually out of stock on the website, which is pretty impressive that it sold out so well. And the next one is the OT travel set, which is also sold out temporarily. It'll be back in February. So that's, I've got it on because we're about to spin the wheel and we're spinning. So the first person to land, you have the option, you can choose. Actually, this is my personal one, or I can give you a brand new one when it arrives. But this is my personal one for whoever's gonna get this. Cullen, my man. Cullen, reach out to me, you choose. This is my personal, I have used it, all right? So it means it's not depleted, and I'll put fresh sticks in there, don't worry about it. But this is, that's my beautiful wife. And now for the next spin, but I won't be offended. If you prefer this, this is gorgeous because it has the travel unit in there. So yeah, you choose, you can choose whatever you want. And the next one is Yannick. Go Aussies. Yannick, you're awesome, and I appreciate everything you do, my brother. So Yannick, you have a choice. So I'll wait for Cullen to come back and tell me which one he prefers or she prefers, and then you can choose the next one. Boom. All right, last thing I want to share. Let me just stop this record. Bing, boom, boom. There it is. Last thing I want to share is something that's been not playing on my mind, but something that's sort of been floating around in my brain. And it's connected to a few things. One of it is to say that it's all starting from a thank you. The bottom line is that all these things that are occurring within the channel cannot be made possible without your company and your presence. My gut says right now that the people who are still here, so all 3 of you, or whoever might be at the end here, are people who have been following this journey all along. Are also people who maybe are even like-minded when it comes to the love of perfume and the love of the artistic and the creation and things of that nature. When I started the channel, it was never by design. In the sense that I never thought, 4 years ago, right, what I'm going to do is set up a touring business and then create a fragrance line, and it was all, I've got a philosophy which I've shared before, which is let it flow. So just allow things to occur naturally. I do talk about let the universe sort of guide you, let it push you forward. I find that, and this is something that I've discovered for myself, that the more I try to go, this is where I want to go, the more I don't end up in that direction. I once heard a great analogy, and that is that if I want to go to a destination, which is Rome or anywhere, that I'm not sitting there with the pilot going, okay, so now tell me the navigations and where exactly we're going to go, which way we're flying, how high, how fast. I just sit in my seat and just let the pilot do their thing. So the same here, the universe is carrying us forward, and I just let things flow. So if something feels right, and I'm going to say most of us can feel where that energy is actually taking us to. All the things that have happened when it comes to channel, I've just let it flow. And like the natural birth of KM fragrance tours, the way that it was received and the success that that had, then which naturally moved into creating a fragrance line, which is a celebration of the things that we've sort of uncovered and wanting to share with everybody else. In all of this, I just keep thinking that I am grateful that there is a group of people who are interested in this form of conversation. I want to thank you guys again. So none of this was by design, in the sense that I didn't sit there at the start, go and map this out. We're going to do here, then we're going to go there. I just let it flow, and as a result, was taking me to this location here. Moving forward, I look forward to 2026 in the sense, a chance to connect with as many people as possible. I do like the opportunity of actually being one-on-one with if you have time, I love the chance to hang out and to feel your energy and to feel your connection. The bottom line is that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the chance that I've had to go on this journey and to be here. My brain's going, what exactly are you trying to say? Let me help Marcelo out here. Just to qualify, yesterday I was having a lot of pain on my shoulder and my neck, have been for the last month or so. Since coming back from the tour, it's been go, 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 and so I haven't had a chance to really sort of slow down a bit. The main point that I was trying to draw at, which is connected to the thank you, is that throughout this whole journey, there's always a question mark. So when we did the KM fragrance tours, there was quite a bit of an investment to bring this to life and hoping that someone would resonate with this. That became very successful. We actually we're now about to do the 6th tour, which is incredible to think that from this tiny idea, now we've moved on to this. And now with the release of OT, the reception that we've received, again, has been really, really phenomenal. All the way through, as we were building OT, we always had an exit door. If it wasn't reaching the sort of the creatively where we want it to be, what the fragrance should be, what the brand should be about, if it was never hitting those marks correctly, Kevin and I both had an agreement that there was an eject button, that we were out of here. This is why we kept it so quiet. We never told anybody about what we were doing, because we wanted the luxury of going, not working, we're out. So all through this process, as we're moving through, it's all going well, but then you pray and hope that this will now resonate with others, and you feel that you're about to put forward into the world something exciting, but you don't know until it gets out into the world. And so this is where it all stems back from, where the first thank you is really for trusting that we would do the best that we can to bring something that is actually delightful and adds value to this, the love of perfume, the love of the art of perfumery. And then once it actually landed in the world, the reception that we've been receiving. And I go back, we did forecast and budget to go, that we will have enough, we'll air freight all these because that should cover us. Well, the sales have been awesome, and the response that has come back has been awesome. So I'll go back to the original video before the other Marcelo appears. Again, I want to say thank you to everybody for your support, for your vote of confidence, for the encouragement that you guys give us, for your energy. It's wonderful. It's felt, and it's very much appreciated. Back to the other guy. I didn't want to end the year without at least explaining, what is the direction here, what is my desire, and it's purely just to let it flow, see where it takes. See how the connections can occur, and then how that connection can occur with you guys. And that's it. It's been a big year. I am tired, I have to be honest. My body is smashed. I feel pain everywhere, but it's all good. I'm looking forward to this break. I will come back probably about mid-January. That's the intention. So I'm rubbing my shoulder. It's been driving me crazy. I will be back in mid-January, so Maté Talk will resume. As mentioned, there is a lot of brands that will be putting forward. So I've been doing a lot of testing and researching and trying to uncover new brands. I've been in a lot of communications with brand owners that I want to elaborate on. I love the work that they're doing, and I actually look forward to sharing it with you guys. Thanks again. If you celebrate Christmas, have a beautiful and wonderful Christmas with family. If it's just a festive time for you guys, then have an awesome time. I wish you guys safety. I also wish you the best at the start of 2026, and hopefully our paths can cross in some way and we can connect human to human, basically. Thanks everyone. We'll see you guys all on the next Maté Talk.